Hola, hola, hola. Good evening, dear students. Welcome to Competitiveness Module 10 course, code FG708. Today we are starting with our week number 1. And here we have our topics. Just a minute, let me connect some that here because I think the remote camera was out of service, but now I think it is connected. So let's continue with our topics. Today we have the first topic, that is basic botany. Number 2, parts of plants, and the number 3, photosynthesis. My name is Elio Escobar. You have my personal data here in front of the pen. You have my personal data here. If you want to send me a message by the email that you will see on the next slide. And also you can use this QR code in order to subscribe to our Telegram group. And now let's continue with our next information slide here. Okay, here I included the QR code again, and also I write down the link here in order to subscribe to the Telegram. And also, if you have questions or need additional information regarding to this course, send me an email to this electronic mail here. Okay, I'll be checking if you need additional information, but please don't ask me about your grades because I'm not able to have this type of information. If you need your grades, you need to call to your local university administrators. And now let's go ahead with our course. Here I included a small sample of our program. That is the basic botany. We're going to study from week 1 to 6 on the first week, basic botany. Then on second week, plant propagation and planting density. On third week, we're going to study soil conservation and enrichment. And on fourth week, ecology and agroecological zones, life in Guatemala. And also on the fifth week, the main plant diseases. After these topics, you will have your first partial exam. And also, after this, your first homework. Okay, now let's check our class objectives for today. And the number one is defining what botany is in and its different uses today in the improvement of human beings' life. Then we're going to study or recognize the different parts of the plant. And the next objective is describing the process of photosynthesis in general, and also reviewing the concepts of plant classification through taxonomy. Let's go ahead. Then, and now, what is botany and why is important? Why is it important for us? Okay, botany is the scientific study of plants, their properties, their biochemical processes, and also their interactions to the environment and other aspects, other characteristics that we will be studying in detail. Okay, remember that plants provide us with food like potatoes, like onions, like vegetables that you see here. And also plants are able to provide us with seeds and other materials that we need from the forest, like the wood. We are making some furnitures that are made of wood. We also obtain some medicines from plants, from a few plants, or many of them, and also fruits. But now let's check the information that we have here. And it says that botany is the scientific study of plants, encompassing their structure, properties, biochemical processes, classification, diseases, and interactions with the environment. Why botanists are the scientists who specialize in this field. Botany is crucial because plants are fundamental to life on Earth, providing us with oxygen, food, medicine, and other essential resources. It delves into various aspects like plant structure, function, diversity, reproduction, classification, and ecology. So let's continue. What are the defining characteristics of a plant? A plant is a multicellular organism belonging to the kingdom Plantae. Key characteristics include a photosynthetic nutrition, because plants are able to produce their own food using light energy. Okay, plants use light energy and convert it into chemical energy. Also, unlimited growth, they exhibit essentially unlimited growth at localized regions. Another characteristic is rigid cell walls. Their cells contain cellulose in their walls, providing rigidity. Another characteristic is stationary existence. Plants generally lack organs of locomotion and are more or less stationary. So they are not able to move from one place to another. And uh, this characteristic, the next one, the absence of nervous systems, they don't possess nervous systems like human beings do or like animals. Also, another characteristic is the alternation of generations. Their life histories show an alternating of haploid and diploid generations. There are over 300,000 known species of plants, including common examples like grasses, trees, or shrubs. These are a group of characteristics of plants. But now let's see how do plants reproduce. And there are two main processes that plants use to reproduce. And the number one is sexual reproduction, and the number two is the asexual reproduction. When plants are able to reproduce in the way of sexual reproduction, they are combining, or they need to combine two elements. If a male element that is like the pollen here, the male element, okay, male, and also a female element, the ovum here, okay, female element. Okay, with this process, the sexual reproduction are able to create a new plant. But in this on this process, plants also need the help of a pollinator, like the bee that you see here, an insect that helps plants in order to create a new one. And these are the basic process of sexual reproduction. While in okay, this is a sexual reproduction. Let me write down here. This process is sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction. Why? Here we see the process of asexual sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction. In this case, what we need is to cut some part of the parent plant, that it could be a piece of a root, a piece of a root, a piece of a small branch, or a piece of a leaf. And after this, we are able to plant this part of the parent one into a new place with soil or sand, and we will get a new plant. And this one will be a like a copy of the parent plant that is called a clone. Clone. Okay? A clone from the parent plant. Now let's check the information that we have here, and let's analyze this information. So plants reproduce through two primary modes, the sexual reproduction, and this involves the fusion of male and female gametes, as I showed before, and typically occurring in the flower. And the second, that is the asexual reproduction, also known as vegetative reproduction. This involves new plants arising from vegetative parts of the plant plants, such as stems. This is the stems and the roots that I draw before, the roots and leaves here. Okay. Offspring produced through sexual reproduction are genetically identical to the parent plant. And I said that this is called a clone. Now let's go ahead. What are the main parts of the plants and their functions? Let's check this information here. Plants typically have three main parts, each with a distinct structure and function. And they are the roots, the stem, and the leaves. Okay, let's check this information here. So the three main parts of the plants are roots, stem, and leaves. Roots refer uh, to they are and grow underground, anchoring the plant in the soil and absorbing water and nutrients. Their appearance varies depending on the plant type, while the stem is the one piece of the plant that supports the leaves and flowers, transports water and nutrients from the roots to the rest of the plant, and helps the plant grow towards light. The stems can differ in their characteristics, for example, woody or herbaceous, erect or trailing. We're going to check on the next slide some images with this information, so don't worry for now. And leaves are the primary sites for photosynthesis, capturing sunlight to produce food for plants. They also release oxygen and water vapor into the air and come in a wide variety of shapes, sizes, colors, and patterns. Let's check some images in order to clarify this information here. Okay, as I mentioned before, we uh, we saw that the three main parts of a plant are roots here, the stem here, that is this part here, stem, and also the leaves. All of these leaves located within the branches. Okay, like these three here, And these are the three main parts, roots and leaves. Each part has a different structure and function, of course, as we saw before. And let's check. Plants also include flowers, fruits, and seeds. Okay, flowers, fruits, or seeds. Okay, so these are additional components of a plant. So let's go ahead. Okay, we were talking about that the main functions that a plant uh, makes uh, are. Let me turn on the pen again. Okay, plants are able to absorb soil nutrients water, like water, or some minerals like nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium. Okay, they are minerals from the soil. And the stem here transport transport these water plus minerals to the upper level of the plant. Also, plants need the sunlight here to convert it to chemical energy. And also, carbon dioxide that is on the air, is through the air. And these are all the elements that plants need in order to produce the basic compounds like glucose. Glucose, that is sugar, that is a basic sugar here. And also plants produce oxygen. Okay? Remember that plants need the sunlight here, sunlight and chlorophyll content into the leaves in order to produce glucose and oxygen. This glucose is a an hexagonal molecule where six carbon atoms are located like this. Okay, this is the basic glucose molecule that plants uh, produce. Now, let's continue explaining the process of photosynthesis and the role of chlorophyll. Photosynthesis is the vital process by which green plants and some other organisms convert light energy into chemical energy. So I've been talking about this basic process that is convert light energy into chemical energy. During photosynthesis, light energy is captured, used to transform water, carbon dioxide, this is water, carbon dioxide here, and the here, light energy here, as well some minerals here that I said that maybe nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium are the main minerals that are through the soil. And then everything is converted into oxygen and energy rich organic compounds. This is the sugar that we saw before. Here's the oxygen, and the sugar that is like this formula here. Oxygen. Okay, this is the basic formula of sugar. And we are describing here all the process of photosynthesis. Okay, plant leaves is plant leaves is here. Plant leaves here um, appear green because pigment called chlorophyll, they contain chlorophyll, reflects the green light while absorbing the blue and red light waves. So the chlorophyll is contained here into the green leaves. Okay? And plants are able to absorb the red and blue light, but they reflect the green light. This is why we saw them as green color. Okay, let's go ahead. Explaining the process of photosynthesis and the role of chlorophyll. Okay, chlorophyll is located, as I mentioned before, in the thylakoid membranes within chloroplasts of plant cells. It is crucial for this process. In this image, we see here a cell, a plant cell that contains the chloroplast and also the uh, this granule here, that's this granule here, and they are responsible of capturing the sunlight we see here, and they are responsible of producing the light energy into chemical energy in the form of ATP and NADPH. And what are they? What are they? What are ADP and NADPH? They are some molecules. Okay, molecules here. They are molecules. Molecules. I mean energy molecules. These molecules are able to store energy. Okay. Let's say energy molecules. Energy molecules. Energy molecules. So these are ATP and NADPH. This energy is then used to split water molecules into hydrogen, hydrogen, and oxygen atoms. Okay, hydrogens, the symbol for hydrogen is the one, oxygen is one. And the ATP and NADPH molecules store energy. As I said before, they store energy for the next stage of photosynthesis. Next stage of photosynthesis, known as the Calvin cycle. Calvin cycle. After the production of these molecules, the plants do this cycle here, the Calvin cycle. That is a light dependent stage. So these images describe these processes. Now let's continue. So, as a summary here, we have the core process, that is the fundamental process by which green plants and other organisms convert light energy into chemical energy. The process overview says here that during photosynthesis in green plants, light energy is captured and used to convert water, carbon dioxide, and minerals into oxygen and energy-rich organic compounds. It means sugar. And chlorophyll, this pigment found in the thylakoid membranes of chloroplasts is crucial. It absorbs energy from blue and red light waves and reflects green light waves, making the plant appear green. So this is a summary. We also have the energy conversion. In this case, it says that absorb light energy splits water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen atoms. Some light energy is converted into chemical energy stored as ATP and NADPH for use in the subsequent Calvin cell. Uh, as this information says, two stages of photosynthesis: the light stage, that is the light dependent reactions, and depend on the amount of light in water, they produce oxygen and energy into the form of ATP. And the second process is the enzymatic stage, that is light independent reaction or carbon cycle. It depends on carbon dioxide and water. They take energy from the light reactions and produce carbohydrates. This stage is incorrectly called dark, as it requires products from the light stage, which are rapidly split in actual darkness. So this is a summary of the information piece of before. So let's go ahead. Taxonomy and classification. This is another topic that we need to analyze, but before I can continue, let me check how many of you are connected on YouTube. Okay, I see here Julio del Cid. Good afternoon, Professor. Good evening, Julio. Maria Susana Alvarenga. Good afternoon, good evening, Maria. Miss Zulma Yesenia Carrera. Good afternoon, good evening, Olga Cristina Colom. Good evening. Okay, I don't see questions at this moment, so we can continue with our class. Okay, I was saying that we need to check this taxonomy topic and classification. Let's check. Okay, scientists used to name these levels of classification of plants like taxonomy, systematics, and classification that are terms describing the organization of the overwhelming diversity of living organisms. In this case, we're talking about plants. Phylogenetics emphasizes the evolutionary history of these groups. Let's check. This is a hierarchical classification from top to bottom, and the upper level is called kingdom. Let me turn on the pen. Okay, the upper level is called kingdom, then phylum, and next class, then we have order, next family, then genus, and the last one at the bottom of this classification is species. Okay. And these are the 7 levels that scientists use in order to classify the plants. Okay, from top to bottom. Top to bottom, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 levels. Okay, 7 levels. 7 levels that we use to classify plants, and it's also called taxonomy. Now let's go ahead. In most scientists set 7 main taxonomic ranks in the descending order, as we saw right now. Kingdoms of life. Now, there's a description or model that is the pyramid of life that is divided into 4 main kingdoms. Okay, let's check. The simplest level is Monera. That consists of prokaryotes, bacteria, and archaea with simplest cells without nucleus. Then we have the protista. They have the eukaryotes or nuclear cells without tissues, including algae and fungi. Next, there's a vegetabilia that have tissues mainly to survive on land, contains over 300,000 species. And animalia that have tissues to hunt and digest. And we have viri, also viri, they are viruses, but they are mentioned in a separately way because they are not living things, but they are apparently pieces of DNA or RNA which went astray out of cells of living organisms of all 4 kingdoms. Despite being non-living, viruses are capable of evolution. So let's check. Let's check these next images here in order to understand these classifications. Okay, we said that the simplest level is this one here, Monera, and they are living organisms that have cells without nucleus. Okay. Then we have the protista level, and they are of cells without tissues. They are of cells but without tissues. Okay. And the upper level, we have 2 kingdoms: the vegetabilia and the animalia, and they are able to have tissues. And also, there's another classification is the viri. They are viruses. They are viruses, but they are not classified within the previous model because they are not considered living organisms as original or with the proper existence. So this is why we are not classified here. Let's check another images here. So these are, if you remember, the images of the COVID-19, the COVID-19 virus. Okay, virus. So if you remember the pandemic, this virus was dangerous because uh, during the pandemic, like half million of the population around the world died because of this virus. Let's go ahead. Okay, what is taxonomy? Okay, let's check this information here. And the highest rank, the kingdoms that we saw in the previous image, are easy to understand as the pyramid of life, which is divided into four levels. At the bottom, as we saw, was mineral, Morera, which consists of prokaryotes, bacteria, and algae. This is the first level of life. Monera have simplest cells without nucleus. While the next level was Conchista and so these are eukaryotes, nuclear cells without tissues. They are able to have nuclear cells but without tissues. Some examples are algae and gallons. So we're going to check some images to see some examples. So here we have some algae. These are algae, and then we have also fungi. These are examples of algae, and here we have fungi. Okay, fungi. So we're talking about this uh, living organisms. Okay, the final level consists of two groups. We saw vegetabilia and animalia. On top of our pyramid. Okay, so they were here, like here, upper level. They both have tissues, but have obtained them for completely different purposes. Animals have tissues to hunt and digest, while plants have tissues mainly to survive on land. Biri, which are mentioned sideways, are not living things, but remember, biri are not living things, but merely pieces of DNA or RNA, which went straight out of cells of living organisms of all our kingdoms, despite of being non-living. Viruses are a mode of evolution. Okay, unfortunately, the time has gone. I don't have more time to continue the class. So I'm going to see you on the next class next week and have a good night.